Welcome to the iNETreprener radio show. We are so honored to bring you your host, the ultimate celebritypreneur, connecting businesses and celebrities worldwide. Winner of the Networking Organization of the Year, best-selling author, magazine publisher, trainer, and owner and founder of Network Together and the iNETreprener Media Network from magazines, TV, and radio network. We're excited to bring you your host, Mr. Robert W. Jones.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being on the iNETreprener Radio Network. And I'm Robert Jones, your host of the iNETreprener Radio Show. And today I'm going to be talking about a lot of things that many of us may have a fear of, and that's finances. And I say that because one of the fears I've seen, aside from public speaking, which happens a lot, is people really don't want to expose their finances. And today I have a couple of financial professionals that are here to kind of help us, take a little bit of the cloth away, so to speak, that kind of covers, some of our fears of finances. Many times entrepreneurs, I look at there's three major hats an entrepreneur has. They need to own their business, they need to manage their business, and they need to be a technician in the business. And many times I feel like a part of those hats is the managing of finances for entrepreneurs normally takes a back seat to many other things. I mean, there's always these old adages of, the marketer and then the accountant struggling over the heart of the business, the marketer always wanting to spend more. And then the person in finances say, no, we can't spend more. Let's look at the data and let's see how we should really appropriate and budget for this next year. And, I've been that with myself. I many times I've had both accountants, I've had marketers in my life. I've had this constant struggle. But today, we're not going to have any marketers on the show. So I'm really excited about that. So I don't see too many struggles today. I also want to mention that I'm going to put a banner that will scroll across here. Please subscribe to our channel. Go to YouTube, iNETreprener Radio, subscribe to our channel. This channel also has Dr. Karen Perkins with the 7-figure jump. I'm excited. I have Dr. Karen here on today. Also, find us at ntevents.net. You can find over on an annual basis over 1,000 meetings and events on our calendar, quite a bit to keep up with. So, I am so fortunate that I'm married to the CEO and she takes care of all that and she keeps me out of trouble. So I always like to say, I'm the guy who likes to blow things up and Sean is the one who puts them back together. But I'm really excited to have our first guest on today. And our first guest is Vanessa Lucey. How are you doing, Vanessa?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for being here on the show. And I think you probably heard a little bit about what I was talking about, about the marketer and the accountant. And many times in companies, there's kind of a constant struggle between, these two people or these two divisions if you have a larger company, but it doesn't have to be even a struggle between businesses, departments. Sometimes it's actually even a struggle with a solopreneur, wouldn't you say?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I see it all. And the solopreneurs are actually harder than the entrepreneurs because they're doing it all themselves.
They absolutely are doing it all themselves. And I see that, many times as a major problem because you can't be an expert at everything. And I really tell you, there is a big difference many times between a person who has a mind for marketing and a mind for accounting, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, I agree completely. Totally. It's a totally different mindset. So,
So you and I have known each other a while. What I really like about you is you are very different when it comes to what people though think about as accountants or even preparation experts. There's a terminology that says thinking outside of the box, and I really don't like saying thinking outside of the box because I always think of Jack in the Box. So I would rather say is you like to go to the creative space to work with entrepreneurs to help them find a better path and a better way of, financial reasonableness. But, I also know this, you didn't start out coming out from day one, from the womb, determined to be, I'm going to be an accountant, or I'm going to prepare taxes.
I did not.
No, that actually came over time. So what I really like to do is let's go backwards a little bit and explore a little bit of background of Vanessa, Lucey, and, talk about maybe your parents and maybe what you learned from them. And maybe there's some school of hard knocks that you've had in your life.
Yeah, for sure. So I was born and raised in Torrance, California. Went to South Torrance High School, graduated there, lived there till I was about 18 or so, and then moved across the country to Connecticut, back to California, and then to Arizona finally. So I really couldn't find a place where I wanted to live that would give me what I was looking for. I was, like I said, born and raised in California. I loved Hollywood and I loved LA. So I wanted to be an actress. Now, wow. I still want to be an actress, but I kind of debunked that dream when my parents didn't have the money to get me a headshots. And I didn't really have high self-esteem in high school. I mean, who does? I was like, oh, I just want to get through high school, but I loved performing. So I would do talent shows and drama in high school, and I always performed to the highest level without like much practice. I am a natural when it comes to being on stage and being my authentic self. That's all I do. I just show up as my authentic self, and people love that. That's what makes me different. So
yeah, and I was going to say, I think the background of maybe the theatrical part of your nature, it does come across. But Vanessa, it doesn't just come across in maybe what you say, stage or speaking and training. I mean, it really comes across as being more engaged with your clients. Yeah. One of the things that you have that many people don't have is a certain amount of real intent, like a good, intense engagement with your clients. But I mean, going from California over to Connecticut, you really didn't get the shortcut to Arizona by doing it. You know that, right?
Yeah, I didn't.
I mean, like, wow. So, so as you're going on this journey and you're finding yourself from California and you're going through the states to Connecticut and you end up in Arizona, were you in accounting at the time you arrived in Arizona?
So accounting started in Connecticut, actually. Okay. I got a job. I've been working my 8 to 5 jobs all this time. I got a job in, it was like a property management company, and they put me into the accounts receivable area. And someone saw my strength in accounting. I did not see it. Again, I'm hyper focused on being an actress, okay, at this point still. And I had a kid. So it's like, oh, a dying actress. What a great job. So I had to get my 8 to 5 job. And they saw this heavy understanding of accounting. So I gave it a shot, and it's been history since then. I've been in this field for 20 years now. I started in 2000, and I am still in it. I've done everything in accounting, from accounts receivable, accounts payable, financials, journal entries, taxes, payroll, 75 payrolls at one time at a CPA office, et cetera, et cetera. So I have a lot of background for that. The reason why I left those 8 to 5 jobs is because I was done with the conundrum of this schedule. I couldn't stand it. I had children that were younger. So 8 to 5 jobs were great because it was a stable income coming in. But I decided in 2006, I started my business in 2008 when I had those 8 to 5 jobs, doing clients on the side. I didn't think much of it. I didn't promote it. I just did it. In 2016, I finally said, you know what? I got to go all in or not in at all. And the reason why I said that is because I was making other people rich.
Yeah.
I don't want to make other people rich because of my skills that I had. I want to make myself rich because it's my knowledge up here that they're paying for. And they weren't paying me enough for that. I mean, it's priceless, right? So it's really hard to put a price on your knowledge, especially when you're working for someone.
Well, I want to make sure that it comes across right. It's not necessarily that you just don't want to make other people rich. You want to be in the process of helping, them become more wealthy, but you're a part of the wealth process as well. I mean,
exactly. Yes.
I've always felt that what I like about how you handle accounting is not only do you make it engaging and understandable, you also create accounting in such a way. It's like, look, I want to be the most valuable asset on your team. I want to be the person that you go to that helps drive the engine of profitability, of efficiency, of learning automation. And you know what, quite frankly, keeping the government out of your pocket. And that is, those are some of the ways that you really have a drive to help entrepreneurs. What are some of the other drives that you have when you sit down and you start working with your clients? Tell us about the drive that you have for them.
My drive is number one, to be successful. I want every single person that comes into my space to be successful in their business. And, sometimes it's hard to tell someone how to do something, but I'm a very straightforward person. And when you're going to sit down with me, you're always going to know the truth, whether you're doing something wrong or you're doing something right. And that is clearly for education. It's for education, so you can be educated as to why I'm doing the things that I do. I love to.
Yeah, and quite frankly, every client does exactly what you say, right?
Yeah. They're like, oh, man. They're like, oh, you're a god, And I've been called so many nice names from people. Oh, you're a calming sense. You're a god. You when you enter the room, you bring instant calming. I have been told all these wonderful things, and it's because I show up as an authentic person. I can't fake it. I will never fake it. And some people love it. Most people love it. And most people can't stand the harsh, straightforward. It's not harsh, but the straightforward conversations, because you have to have that when you're dealing with the IRS.
Right. And that is great. And that's where I really want to, play in the sandbox with you a little bit, because really when you are working with your clients and this is something I know firsthand, you really drive the process as an expert. I know sometimes accountants, I can drive them many times. What do you want me to do? How do you want me to do it? And what way? What you really do, what I like is you sit down and I call it, you first assess, then you address. Yeah. The first thing you do is and I know I feel like I'm selling you a little bit, but but I love how you really get in there and you're like, before we can create a financial path, I have to know what are your financial goals. Yeah. And, in so doing, not only do I need to know your financial goals, what is the timeline to get there? Because some people forget you can't just have goals. You have to have some type of reasonable timelines, of getting to those places. And I think that sometimes that's where, you're not always the hero, because you do have those tough conversations that your clients don't always necessarily, want to hear. And when you sit down with them and you have these conversations, and quite frankly, right now, with COVID in the last 8 months, there's a lot of financial stress. There's a lot of financial anxiety. And there's probably a lot of people that are knocking on your doors, with a little bit of fear. How do you help them cope with these things?
By number one, answering their questions. When people call me, they have a lot of questions. They have a lot of uncertainty as to what's happening, and they tell their mind something. They tell themselves, "Oh, I'm going to get in trouble with the IRS," because they've done something that they think is wrong. So they come in to me and they ask questions, and I answer those questions. And I do answer them in a calm way, but in a straight way. hey, you know what? I don't, like, for example, I don't totally agree with what you're doing, but let's fix it going forward. Like, let's not look back, let's look forward, because it's going to be all about forward in a business. You want to make money, you want to be profitable, you want to maximize those deductions. So let's look forward. That's why you have me now on your team. So I approach it like that. And you know, and people always want me to quote right away. It's very hard for an accountant to quote right away. And, you know, and I understand with people, they want to, it's very hard for them to show me financial information. I mean, who are you going to give your bank statement to? Oh, just some stranger on the road, you know? So for them to open up to me and give me that financial information so I can evaluate and package deal, if I give them a package deal, or I'm very personalized to every single business. Yeah. So I have to look at financials to personalize that.
Well, you know, and you know, where you're talking about it is definitely a scary place. When I was in property management, I always said you could look any way you wanted when you come into the property management office, whether you're going to pay or not pay. But if I'm doing a site inspection of the unit, and you know, you can't hide from your environment. You can't hide from your closet. You can't hide from, you know, the way that you live. You know, you're either clean or you're dirty, or you're, you know, you have no fashion sense, or you do. I mean, you are your environment. You create it around it. But, you know, really in the same way, finances are the same way. You know, from people coming to you with shoe boxes worth of receipts, right? You know, and sometimes for many years of them. And for some people, they're just downright embarrassed. I know at one time I did very, very, very well in my life. And then I got into the real estate, and I got caught up into 2006 through 2008 real estate. And it took me many years to overcome being embarrassed. I did not want anyone to look at my financial world, because I felt like they were looking into my soul. And when they looked at my soul, I was a failure. I was a utter failure. And it took a gentleman who was, you know, by the way, in Network Together, Brian McClure, about 3 years to get to the point to making me feel comfortable that he was going to partner with me to help me get to the next place. And too many people, let alone entrepreneurs, feel that way. So, you know, some of the things that, and there, you do so many things, but you know, you're expert at quite a few things. You know, tell us some of the things that you do, what you just love helping entrepreneurs with, you know, those services. Because I know it's more than just account receivables and account payables and, you know, doing the Schedule C and, you know, everything else. I mean, that's the function of it. But you know, what are some of the things that you do that just go beyond just the numbers of how you work with your clients?
Well, there's many services that I do offer for Lucey Accounting. And one of them is education. I love to educate an entrepreneur because, you know, coming into it, I don't have to do your bookkeeping. I don't have to do your accounting. I'm not sitting here trying to promote that. I want to be on your team in the way that you want me to be on your team. So I go in and I educate people on QuickBooks. I'm an expert level on QuickBooks, so I can take you on the phone and take you through QuickBooks if that's what you prefer. I do in-person sessions, Zoom sessions, phone sessions, all for QuickBooks education. And that's every product, QuickBooks, QuickBooks Online, and all of that stuff. And then to prepare for taxes, I do the bookkeeping part of it, which is the numbers part. But you know what? It's the data entry part. It's the part that no one wants to do. That's where the receipts come in and the bank statements. And here's 4 years of receipts. Do you need them? And, you know, that type of stuff. And I organize that. So it becomes a financial statement for your tax preparer. They'll thank me in the long run that you're organized. So I do that. I set up entities. I set up LLCs, S Corps. I set, and I also do budgeting if people ever want to sit down and budget. I do that. And that's really the scope of of everything that I tried to do.
Well, and, you know, I think there's something else that you do that's pretty phenomenal as well, is you are also part of people's integrative approach, meaning, you know, so yes, you do the historical part of accounting, but you also will work with other financial planners. You'll work with attorneys. You'll work with you know, other professionals in the legal/financial industry, not begrudgingly, but openly, willingly, and with transparency. And, you know, these are some of the things I think that really mark you, that hey, what does it, where, you know, why does Vanessa feel, taste, you know, look, whatever, different from many accountants? It's also because when you say team player, you know, the team isn't just the entrepreneur. There may be other people that are a part of that team, and some of these areas may even cross over with what you do. But you know, you do very good at fitting yourself within an integrative approach to financial management and planning.
Yep, I do. It's so important to have that team. It is so important to build a team around you. And I love being a team player and a partner. And when I say partner, I mean a partner to make your business successful. Not a partner in that I want to be a partner financially, but I want to be your partner to make it successful, to make sure that you are nothing but successful. And I've had, you know, I get a lot of people coming back after they've left me because of that calming, personal approach. I sit down with my clients and I'm very personal with all of them. And when I say personal, I don't like go into detail of what they don't want to tell me. I'm talking, I make them feel comfortable. Because the first thing people tell me is, don't judge me. I don't even know what judging is. When I was raised, I didn't judge. I was told not to, and I didn't. So I try to bring that into my business. There's no judgment because we're all human beings and we mess things up, and that's okay. There's always a fix. So I love that.
Let people know how they can get a hold of you. I know I have the banner scrolling across here. You know, just, you know, you're very, you know, another thing I like is you don't hide behind layers and layers and layers of phone trees and whatnot, and dial 1 and get to 2 and then call back at the other 800 number to get to the call center that will call you to get to them. You know, you're
exactly.
You're very approachable as well. So, you know, the email, you know, what is the best way you like, through Facebook? How do you like being approached the best?
So you can check out my website, which is www.lucey.accounting.com. My email is scrolling on the bottom. I also have a business cell phone number, which is 480-284-2796. That could be calling and texting. I do get back to people within an hour, and I'm not even kidding. It's within an hour. I'm very, very quick to respond. And even if I'm in a meeting, I'll let you know. Also, Facebook is a huge place for me, Lucey Accounting Services, and Instagram, same name.
Well, Vanessa, I really appreciate you being, you know, on the show today. And just, you know, I really love people getting to know who you are, not just what you do. And I think you did a great job of doing that today. And I just want to thank you so much for being on the show again. And, you know, if the time arises, let's do this again.
Yes, I would love to. It was so nice seeing you, Robert.
Good
Thank
to see you. As well.
Yes, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Network together. It's all about connections. Expand your sphere of influence. Build relationships. Be part of something bigger. Be part of Network Together.
Hi, my name is Nathan Hirsch, and I build and even sell businesses completely run by virtual assistants. That's right. No office, no US employees, just remote, non-US virtual assistants. And I recently scaled an 8-figure business with just VAs. Now, I want to teach other people how to do the same with my new venture, Outsource School. We teach you how to interview, onboard, train, and manage virtual assistants at a very high level. We also give you access to our standard operating procedures, our library of SOPs, and a tool to create and share your SOPs. Not to mention community, support, live coaching calls to help you build amazing virtual teams and avoid the issues that your competitors are probably having. If you are interested, go to outsourceschool.com. You can grab a free trial to check out what Outsource School is all about.
I just want to say thank you for our sponsors. And again, thank you for Vanessa for being on the show. I've known Vanessa for a while, and I vouch for her services. I've met a lot of accountants in my life, but if you want someone who's engaging, entertaining, and who will go back for you, that would be Vanessa Lucey of Lucey Accounting. Next on, I have Mr. Don Croyle. Hey, Don, how's it going? And Don has his microphone off. There we go.
There we go. Try to be good and not have the cat walk through, the fun of doing stuff from your home office kind of thing.
Yeah, I know about cats myself. I have a cat, and one of the things I've learned with cats is they rule the home, don't they?
These two, yes.
Well, Don, I mean, one of the things I will always remember fondly is going to the Click and Grow business event, and what William was there, and you were there, and I remember taking pictures. I mean, you're kind of known for the kilt, aren't you?
I probably have a good reputation.
Yeah,
for wearing a kilt in all the right places.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have the kilt wandering around the network, all over the place, right?
I've been to a few events where people have looked at me like, why are you wearing a kilt? Well, I could be sitting at this wonderful event doing this all day, or I can wear a kilt and have some fun.
See, and I have a saying that says, if you're in a room of apples, be the banana. And, when I saw you and William go into that event, I mean, it was like, wow, what rock stars just entered the room, because everyone was coming up to you because you guys were wearing the kilts. And I thought to myself, I thought I need to telephone Sean up and say, Sean, it's time for me to get a kilt. I'm half Welsh. That's close enough, right? Same island.
The Welsh wear kilts, but the kilts that are worn by Welshmen are county-based, not clan-based.
Right.
And I'm actually more Welsh than I am Scottish. So.
Well, then we have something. My family comes from the Cardiff area of Wales.
So we're similar. Very, very similar.
Just a little bit. Well, I want to talk a little bit about your background. I know what you do now, but I really don't know the same way with Vanessa. A little bit about who you are. Where did you grow up? Talk about schooling. Talk about some hard knocks and whatnot. Because probably the same way like Vanessa, you did not start in the financial industry coming right out of the womb.
No, I'm an Army brat, been around the world once, soon will be around the world a couple of more times. There's some big trips planned out there in the near future. Dad got on a flight one day out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky, landed in Flagstaff. He's like, I'm going to live here and go to work at Ralston Purina. And then drove to Phoenix, because this was back in the day when you couldn't fly back from Flagstaff. You had to drive to Phoenix. And he said, forget Flag, I'm living in Phoenix. Ultimately, the family moved to Tempe. I've been in the East Valley pretty much the remainder of my life. I've been here. I went to U of A. Sorry, please don't hurt me through the phone there, through the webcam. But went to University of Arizona. I started out as an aerospace engineer. That didn't quite go the way I was hoping. And got a degree in poli-sci. Everybody said, oh, you're going to be an attorney. That was not my direction. I got out of school at U of A. I went to flight school at Cochise College. And then from there, it was, what am I going to do? A buddy of mine knocked on my door. He said, I got a job for you. Sell insurance. I was like, all right. So I went to work back in the day with American Family. It was not my gig. I bounced around to American Family, Allstate, a couple other captive companies, and that just really wasn't my thing to be captive. It drove me insane to sit down with someone and say, buy my policy, but I know that if you went next door, you could get it for 30% less and better coverage. But buy mine today, and after a few years of going in that circle and dealing with the rat race of today you've got 100 people on your books, and tomorrow Farmers cuts their rates by 50%, half your book walks away, and then 6 months later you get back those 50 people because all states decided to change their rate plan. So my training got started with in the insurance world. I went independent, and I'm about to have a cat come visit here. From there, I decided I wanted to do securities, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. I got security license, pretty much had every license under the sun. H&R Block recruited me in to run their financial planning offices. At the time, they were spooling up for becoming a nationwide financial planning firm. They ultimately decided that it was too expensive, too hard, too difficult, not enough business. They were looking for they wanted the $1 million plus clients like all financial planning businesses. And what, you got $50 a month? We don't really want to talk to you because we're not making any money with you. We want the $1 million plus. I went up management with H&R Block, decided I just didn't want to stay captive to working for a big company, and went independent in 2000.
And I want to make sure that people understand what captive means. Just go ahead and give a layperson the idea of what captive means.
So captive is if you work for the major companies, and I can name a dozen of them: Allstate, State Farm, Farmers, American Family, Bankers. There's some more companies out there, country companies. You can only sell their product. Mm-hmm. You are not allowed to sell any other product on their insurance side. Now they've got securities and stuff that they farm out. But if you're going to sit down with one of their agents, they're going to sell you a farmers only policy, and they can't quote or talk about any other company's policies. They don't have Geico or Progressive or Austin Mutual, Badger Mutual, Liberty. There's hundreds and hundreds of secondary companies, and they're not bad companies. They just are sold through agents only. Those companies aren't putting ads on billboards around town. They just decided to work with the agents. So they tend to have very good coverage at a reasonable price. And if you can work with an agent that's not captive, every year when your policy comes up for renewal, they'll shop it for you, so you stay with the good coverage at a good price.
So you have so much more flexibility in every way by not being a captive agent, and for you felt like you weren't doing enough service for your clients. If you were to be a captive agent, is that correct?
Correct. It was sad to see them sit down in front of you, you'd get them all worked up, and you just knew it wasn't the right thing. But at the end of the day, I had to put food on the table, and you can send them on their own way, or you can sell them. And most of the time I would say, go across the street, talk to Bob. Bob's the good guy, and hope that when Bob didn't have something he could sell, would send me back the referral. So grew up in the referral marketing world from a long time ago.
So there was a lot of evolvement of getting, so you were ready to get out of the H&R Block world, and was there a certain, you wanted to help more, you wanted to help at a deeper level, you wanted to be able to not have your clients coming and going and back and forth, but there had to be a pivot point there where you decided, this is a dream now of mine. This is a dream to where, I can do insurance, not as a captive agent, but I can also do securities, and I also can be more fully, almost financial advising to your clients, correct? When did that day came in and you said, I'm just going to pursue this like nothing else?
Way back, H&R Block, basically, when they shut down their financial offices, it was, we'll be happy to send you far away, move your family, pick up and go, and off you go to Colorado. Not a bad place. I like Colorado, but it was, I don't really want to move right now. I got a new kid on here. I'm not really interested in the relocation. I can make a good living and do well and treat people the right way. And they said, thank you, have a nice day. And I said, thank you, have a nice day. And a lot of my clients rolled over with me. They'd knock on the H&R Block door and come knocking on my door a week later saying, thanks for giving me your card. And I'm glad we could reach you.
Yeah. Well, now, and I asked with Vanessa as well. And I'll ask you the same. We have come through a lot of maybe anxiety and financial stress, and you've probably seen a lot of changes in the last 10, 15, even 20 years of the industry. I mean, certainly you and I have both lived through 2006 through 2008, and that was the real struggle of mine because I was getting into real estate and I thought I would do really well. The thing about real estate was, we could think it does, but it really doesn't affect society in the same way that, something like a virus of COVID is. I mean, you can't get away from that. You can't buy funds without having COVID somewhere to get to you, right? So when it comes to the financial industry, especially when you kind of put on your lenses, how is it affecting your ability to, sit down across the table with your clients, when they're stressed out, when they have anxiety, a lot of people, some of their biggest stresses are, will I have my nest eggs tomorrow?
Clients, it just is a lot of education. As Vanessa said, with me, I like to sit down and I've got experience. I did home loans for a few years because my goal years and years ago when I first went independent was to open up an office with to have a tax office, an insurance office, a real estate office, all rolled into one, because I couldn't wrap my head around having clients sit down in front of me and I'd have to say, well, call the 1-800 number at Bank of America and maybe they'll talk to you, but maybe they won't. But they don't know your situation for a hill of beans. And so I went out and I got experience in a lot of arenas. And really what people want is education and a calming voice to say it's going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. There's a solution to the problem. And 99.99% of the time, there is a solution to the problem that doesn't involve jail time, that doesn't involve handcuffs, that does not involve any of those scary things. It's just people need a handhold. And the other part that I get from people is they hear a lot of weird stuff. Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff that it's third-hand, fourth-hand knowledge that really is not what they should be doing, but they heard about it. And it's gospel. My great-grandmother, twice removed, once reinstated, said to do this. Okay, well, that was 100 years ago and probably doesn't apply. And clients just want to have a reassuring, somebody put their arm around their shoulder and say, it's going to be fine. It's going to come together.
And I think, especially with finances, especially if you're a certified financial planner, some of these positions, some of these designations, they really deal with the space that can create a lot of fear. And that's the fear of the unknown, because no one really has the crystal ball for the future. I mean, no one has that. And, the problem though is, I think many times is the fear of the fear is actually more fearful than what can happen sometimes. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. You got to take that first step. And most people are afraid to take that first step. They wrap it up. They make it a big thing in their head. And they're like, oh my gosh, if I do this. And then they step off that first step. And then they're like, oh, the water wasn't that deep. It was only an inch deep and I made it into too much stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, So some of the products now, I just want to make sure that people understand what you offer, because you do so much more than insurance. There are so many other financial vehicles that you have that you can offer people to really, from helping them develop an emergency fund to helping them, put money away for retirement, to helping to create tax shelters, to helping them, even create legacy. Tell us a little bit about the products that you offer to help people when they get up at night. What is it? What do you worry about at night? How do you get rid of some of that worry?
Well, I really strived years ago to get experience in a lot of arenas. And over the years, I'll be honest, I was like, well, I'm going to do mortgages, and I'm going to do life insurance, I'm going to do auto insurance, and I'm going to do all this stuff. And for a while, it was okay. It was a full-time, double-time, full-time job. And entrepreneurs, we like to work hard, and 60-hour weeks, they kind of drag on you for a while after a few years. So I don't do securities anymore. I don't do stocks, bonds, mutual funds, because the licensing was just too much. I have a great referral source for that. So when I sit down and do somebody's tax return, when I'm doing a person's tax return, I'm not looking at it and just going, here's some numbers, type. Oh, get out of my office. It's, here's some numbers. Why don't you go talk to my buddy and discuss your retirement? And I'll talk to him, and we already know what we're going to do, but he's the legal guy to be able to do it. So the things I do is I do life insurance, annuities. I'm really good in Medicare subs, Medicare Advantage, and I have another plan that only about 5 agents in Arizona offer. That it's not that the plan's bad. It's just what I've seen from other agents. They look at it and go, it's hard. It's not the normal. It's hard and it's not the normal, but it's really good for your client. Why wouldn't you go talk to people about how good it is for your client versus it's too difficult to sell because customers don't understand? Be an educator. Don't be just a process server.
Yeah.
And I'm also a mobile notary, and I do tax returns. I'm a registered tax preparer with the IRS, take my continuing ed every year. So I used to do a lot. I have a broad spectrum of knowledge in that arena. I've set up business entities, but really streamlined it down to really AZNIT is notary, insurance, investment, tax. When I say investment, it's more on the real estate side than it is on stocks, bonds, mutual funds.
Right. Now, I have your contact information going across there, scrolling on the banner. We have a phone number. Are there other ways, Don, that people can get a hold of you so they can start a conversation?
There is an email. It's Don at AZNIT Group. Try to make it simple. LinkedIn. I'm really a face-to-face person. I've always been a face-to-face person. When you get your taxes done by me, I typically show up at your house. Now, in the Corona world, it's not as often, and we'll do whatever makes the client feel comfortable and safe at the end of the day. But I like to sit old school, belly to belly, and ask questions and say, why are you doing this? Who told you to do that? Oh, well, they told me to do that. Okay, well, let's re-examine that and let's sit down and talk about that in detail. Just like Vanessa likes to educate folks and get them spooled up on it. I love Vanessa because I don't want to go through a stack of bookkeeping documents that are just receipts in a shoebox. Vanessa makes my life a lot easier. And to be able to follow through on quality education that comes from your bookkeeper and then be able to say the same things, the client looks at you and goes, oh, maybe I should be doing that instead of wandering off doing something that they probably shouldn't be doing. And I want to advance plan people. I don't want to be just putting in the return. I want to put it in, talk to them beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really good that both you and Vanessa talk about that. It really goes to the point that we cannot be, the financial world is really too big for anyone to really do it all. And it's great, though, that you also take an integrative approach where, if you are joining in on the conversation with those clients, that you also are able to refer out. Believe me, I feel the same way about Vanessa. I still remember having the shoebox, and let me tell you, she lit up like a Roman torch when she saw that. That is the thing that she loves to do. She likes to take a mess and she likes to dress it up and make pretty. Well, Don, thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate it so much. And, it's the same with Vanessa. It's enjoyed you on the show. We get the opportunity. Let's do this again.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you, Don.
Meet Marty Barigian, a transformational energy connector, a global energy master, seeker of the universe, and the abundance connector. Join Marty for a live 3-day energy attraction and abundance workshop, Friday, November 20th through Sunday, November 22nd. Harness the specific energy required to attract abundance, love, and vitality into your life. Purchase your ticket at martybarigian.vip/life. The Art of Connection, 365 Days of Inspiration, a way of leaving your legacy today and tomorrow. It's great to be inspired, but it's better to be the one doing the inspiring. Improving our children's lives, getting them excited about the things to come, and building a future. Also bringing our own selves more business, more credibility, and improving our search engine optimization. The value of quotes is they encourage us, speak to us, remind us, empower us, and comfort us. A thought can change your perception. Share your thoughts and offer strength to others. As Steve Jobs says, do something wonderful. Be a part of the Art of Connection. For more information and to secure your spot in history, go to www.365networkingquotes.com.
All right. Well, I want to thank again Vanessa, Lucey, and Don Croyle for being on the show today. I mean, stellar information. And, a couple of points that I really love is, they talk about collaboration. They talk about, having an integrative approach. They are not afraid to utilize other experts in the financial field for the best interest of their clients. Well, right now, my next guest, I have a special guest. She is the host of the 7-Figure Jump on the iNETreprener Radio Network. I have with me today, live and in action from the great state of Utah, the Utah Utes, etc., Dr. Karen Perkins. Hi, Doctor. How are you?
I am so phenomenal. And I have to tell you, that music's popping and it reminds me of you.
Man, I know it reminds me of Vanessa with a shoebox full of receipts is what it reminds me of.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
I really enjoy financial shows so much. And it really is sometimes I always scratch my head when so many entrepreneurs, so much of the time we place our time in what we do, really, and how we market what we do. And we really don't spend enough time on the other things that really will speed success.
Right.
And that really is the financial part of it. Because if I make $1 million and I am taxed on $500,000, guess what? That does not serve my legacy well.
Nope, does not serve it at all.
And I think sometimes we don't think about that because I want to be the one who chooses what happens with much of that money, where I can donate or what kid I can help get through school or what activities I want to put them in. There are so many other ways that I would like to see my, maybe it's my local school district having a dollar for dollar match that helps children in my community, not get absorbed through administrative costs in other ways, and so I really enjoy Don and Vanessa because they have enough strength by showing the vulnerability. It's like, hey, I'm an expert in this, but I also rely on other experts for the needs, wants, and desires of my clients. And I think that's pretty incredible, don't you?
I think that's wonderful. And I'm all about giving quotes, but I'm all about that. One of my quotes, however, from Karen, one of my Karen-isms is, it is selfish to not rely on other people to do the things that they're good at. Because if I try and do everything myself, especially if it's an area that is not my wheelhouse, I am denying somebody else the opportunity to shine in their glory and their wheelhouse. And why would I want to be selfish? Not to mention, why wouldn't I want the best use of my time and money and the best outcome? And
well, and we've talked about that. We talked about competition even, and collaboration earlier this week. And, part of my thinking is if you have gifts, I really think it really behooves people to really concentrate and really shine their gifts more, even concentrate, because your gift can be more light to others. And it also, like you said, will allow other people to light their gifts. Don't we travel farther and faster by being able to utilize our own unique gifts, through sharing, through collaboration, and certainly through transactions?
We do. And it's one of those things that's really important that we acknowledge what our gifts are, that we charge accordingly. I like that Vanessa had hit on that. That we charge accordingly, but that we let people know we have these gifts and talents, because a talent hidden is a talent unused. And if you've got this talent, there is somebody out there that needs it. So let people know, hey, this is what I do, and I'm dang good at it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of us were brought up to be humble. So you never tell anyone what you can do or how you can do it, or that, hey, you know what? I'm one of the best there is on this. And I know for me, that's been a hard thing to come to terms with, even in my latter years. even at my age, I get all the time, I get reprimanded because I don't tell people things. And I'm like, if it mattered, I'd tell them, but I don't feel like I need to go around telling them everything. Hey, look what I did. And yet at the same time, if I don't say, hey, guess what? I'm not being of service, because I'm not letting people know, wow, maybe she could help me.
Yeah. And in lots of the time, I always think about, we're in the business to save people. And and quite frankly, if a person needs to be saved and they don't know that I have certain gifts, digital marketing was one of my biggest gifts, or being able to connect people. It's not just me going out there and finding people to save. It's also, who knows me, and am I approachable enough that they come to me because they know they need to be saved in some way? The same way, if I don't know Don has these gifts in the financial world, or Vanessa has these gifts in the financial world, how can we be saved? And right now, I'm looking at a lot of people, not everyone, but there's still quite, I call it a mass of people that right now are actually struggling still. And I know it has to do with the heart set. I know it has to do with the mindset. I know it has to do with the media fear. I know it has to do sometimes with the people that they hang out with, and I just want to tell them, change the channel. Yes. Are we going through a situation that is unprecedented? Absolutely. But like I said, what Don and I talked about, sometimes the fear of the fear is more fearful than the fear itself. And,
Fear is false evidence appearing real. It's either a fact. It's either a fact or it is not.
It's a fiction.
You know, it's not real. If it's a fact, okay, it's no longer a fear. It's a fact. What do I have to do to get beyond that? To resolve it, to work with it. And you know, a lot of us get caught in fear. And when I say us, I think everybody does from time to time. And right now, finances are really bad for some of us. And you know, you think about it, those that are having struggles, have you stopped and told people what you do so they can come to you and have you help them while it helps you? Yeah. Have you changed your mindset? Do you believe that there is the energy of abundance? And we talked to Marty. She was one of your sponsors. She does energy work specifically on attracting abundance. And my friend Susan struggled, worked with Marty for a couple of months. And all of a sudden, this massive miracle happened. And the group she was working with as an entrepreneur suddenly gave her a large percentage of a multi-billion-dollar company come next month or come the beginning of the year. Well, now that's attracting abundance. And, you know, where are we in our energy? Are we repelling it or are we attracting it? And a lot of that comes from that fear. Fear is a repellent, not an attractant, other than to negativity. Fear attracts perpetrators to include negative energy.
You know, and I want to go into this deep with what we have when it comes to fear and what we have when it comes to negativity. And my dad told me a long time ago, and I never really understood that. He says, you know, human nature is human nature is human nature. And he said, and I said, I what does that mean? And he told me something that really made sense. He says, let me tell you something that I learned from Warren Buffett. He said that people drink if they're happy and people drink if they're sad. But what Warren was saying is people will always be consumers no matter what. But what they need to learn is how to change their habits. And it really gets me back to the mindset, you know, which I always say starts with the heart set. But if we just look at mindset right now, the National Endowment for Financial Education, they did a survey and they actually put out a questionnaire on what people were fearful of right now when it comes to their financial health. And in the same way that if people are happy they drink, or if people are sad that they drink, you know what they found out? Is what? The same things before COVID when it comes to financial, you know, the finances of you know, for a person or their business is exactly the same. They still are afraid that they don't have enough money for an emergency fund. They're still afraid of having good job security. They're still worried about income fluctuations. They're still worried about paying utilities and having housing, etc. It hasn't changed.
Well, and that's where the heart set and the mindset has to change. And tooting my horn, you know, that's what I do. I do the coaching with NLP coaching, helping you change your heart set and your mindset. And it's really and it's so much easier to do it for somebody else than for yourself. And all of us are in that place. The painter's house is the last to be painted. The accountant's house is the last taxes to be done. And, you know, not in all cases, but, you know, everybody needs a little bit of help. And be it me, be it Robert, be it Sean, be it Vanessa, be it Don, be it whomever and whatever it is you need help in, there is nothing wrong with reaching out and saying help. And there's nothing wrong with that. And, you know, if they can't help you, they probably know somebody who can. And it's really important that we have that safety net. And And by safety net, yeah, finances are important. And one of my favorite quotes. See, everybody needs to be in the quote book, Robert, because people will quote your quotes for the rest of their lives. One of my mom's quotes that I love is, "It'll all be all right in the end. If it's not all right, it's not the end."
Yeah, I love that. One of my favorite quotes is, you know what, there is no there, so enjoy the here. And
I love it.
and
Hey, let's talk about getting in the book, because people want to help their finances. That is the cheapest marketing they can get and have and do to bring business into their storefront, be it an entrepreneur or a mom and pop shop or even a major corporation.
Well, I mean, in that book, it's a community of credible people who believe in collaboration. And what it's like anything. I always say the first time in many ways is the best time, because it's like going into a new neighborhood where a subdivision goes in. There will never be the firsts, like the first people who move into that subdivision. There'll always be closest. And it's the same way with the book as well. There's going to be bonds that are created from this first book that goes out to the world to help people, be inspired, to help them show that we're supporting them, to help them show that, we're really effectively here for them. And, every entrepreneur, business owner, and influencer can be a part of that book for as little as $50. And, there's an expense to create the book, but the thoughts, the question, and especially, the quote is something that's priceless and may be beautifully priceless to the person at the other end who is reading it. And everyone can get more information about that book by going to 365 days of networking quotes. Again, that's 365networkingquotes.com. And I believe Don and Vanessa, Dr. Karen, you and I are in that book, and we invite everyone to join us. Jim Rome said at one time, he said, take as many people with you as you possibly can, because everyone needs to be saved at one point in life.
Well, can I share with you another one of my favorite quotes that was quoted to me many, many years ago? And when I'm having a negative day, it picks my spirits up.
Yes, of course.
To me, it's the silliest quote, but I love it. It's by Herm Albright, and it's, "A positive attitude may not solve all of your problems, but it will annoy enough people to make it worth the effort." When I'm being negative, it's like, okay.
well, we are all out of show time today. Dr. Karen, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate Don and Vanessa as well. And really, the reason that I wanted Don and Vanessa to be on the show today is because, they don't just look at the pocketbook of the person. They really work with their clients to get their mindset right. They're in as much as a psychological business with their clients as they are in a financial part of the business. And they break down the psychology so they can amplify, their legacy. And I think that that's what is really amazing about what Vanessa and Don does. And that's also why I wanted to bring you on there. Don't not ask for help. Do it as fast as you can. Qualify as many people as you can, and just create the action. It's not a time to overthink things. It really is the time to bring people into your life that can help you get through this.
And if you're having money struggles, Don and Vanessa are the kind of people you need to talk to, because they can help you reallocate what you're doing, where you're doing it, and do that mindset work with you while they're at it. So great guests that you had on today. I really enjoyed them, Robert. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, and until next week, we are here every week from Tuesday. I'm sorry, I'm going to Tuesday already. righty. Yes,
it's
Dr.
our
Karen
show on
Perkins
Tuesday.
is live and in action on Tuesdays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Arizona time. And however that Greenwich time goes, I know this show, the iNETrepreneur Radio Show, is every Thursday from 2:30 to 3:30 Arizona time. Ask Google if you need to know what time it is in your local time zone. Have a great day. Thank you so much, everyone, for being on the show. I appreciate it so much.
You've been watching the iNETrepreneur Show, a production of the iNETrepreneur Radio Network with host Robert W. Jones. Join Robert each week as he visits with new and exciting guests who inspire, teach, and mentor entrepreneurs worldwide. Follow Robert each Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and 8:30 p.m. at Greenwich Mean Time.